Now, the phrase power belongs to the people is a very common phrase, or taking back power to the people is also another very popular one used by political elite here and elsewhere. Now, it has been used by the opposition to rally masses, while incumbents use it against the opposition in terms of protection of the people. So we ask if this phenomenon, power belongs to the people, has created a discourse that has been misused, or what does power belong to the people actually mean in Uganda's present-day politics. And now to help us dissect this, we bring a law don, and that is Professor Rubogo Isaac, who is first and with us this evening. Prof, thank you so much for joining us this evening. If I may, the slogan "power belongs to the people" has been used by many Ugandan politicians as long as Uganda has been independent. Now, in real terms, if you may, what does it actually mean?
Wonderful question, my esteemed brother Kasumba. For starters, we have to understand that Article 1, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda says power belongs to the people. More so, the preamble also lays basis. It says this power shall be exercised in recognizance of the aspirations and the desires of the people. Vox populi, Vox Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God. In fact, salus populi lex suprema, meaning the welfare of the people should be supreme. So fundamentally, when you say the power belongs to the people, should actually mean that everything should be exercised in cognizance of the desires and aspirations of the people that you lead.
So Prof, in Uganda's situation, for instance, is power belongs to the people, meaning the voters, the majority, or the people, the ones they vote? Because it's very clear that those who have power are the leaders. The led certainly don't have it.
There seems to be a dichotomy of sorts. Call it a misuse, what you want to call political demagoguery, where people, instead of really exercising the power that has been given to them by the mandate of the Constitution, they use it for their own self-desires. They abuse the power that is given to them. And so it is very common that people are given authority, but they misuse this authority. But the true interpretation, as envisaged by Abraham Lincoln, who brought about the aspect of democracy, where he said, democracy, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The argument of the three separations of power, for example, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, the argument of checks and balances. The problem we have today, which seems to be having a muzzle of these authorities, where in my book, for example, Demystifying the Executive Mandate, I argue and say that instances, for example, where the judiciary has become more executive-minded than the executive itself, or sometimes where the legislature becomes more executive-minded than the executive. So we see instances where the executive has muzzled these authorities of these individuals, and therefore causes a lot of bias amongst the stockholders who ordinarily should be the best beneficiaries of this so-called democracy.
So in the case of Uganda, where we hear that power belongs to us, the people, and the politicians say so, what do they mean when they don't give that power to the people?
Lots of, backfires are likely to happen. If you do not give power, or if you don't exercise power as so desired by the people, I'll use this phrase, Solitudinem facit appellant, which means they make desolate and call it peace. Now, you have to comprehend that every time you deny the people the authority to exercise as they have entrusted it upon you, then you become an abuse. You abuse that authority. So it is important that even as you are given this power, as you become a custodian of this authority, you should exercise it in tandem with the desires and aspirations of the people, rather than using it for your own self-desires or selfish ends.
Prof, I'd imagine that the leaders have delegated power, and we, the people, give them that power. Is it fathomable that those who have delegated power have more power than those who delegated them?
Absolutely. That seems to be the case. I argued last time and said here are individuals in most cases who are given what? A spoon of authority, and they interpret it to be a drum full of authority. So once they are given this power, they think this is a one-way ticket to their own self-appeasement, forgetting that this power is simply a lease. It's simply an extension of grace, where you're supposed to be holding that in trust. It's something that you do in trust of the people that you represent. But how many times have we seen these individuals who have abused this authority and misused this authority to their own selfish ends?
Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening. What I do know is that I'm here because I was employed by an institution. Whether I have more power than those who employed me is something we can look